In 3 weeks' time, the Games will officially kick off. How green will the Games be? What would a green Winter Games look like? Are something we are all eager to see. Today we have invited the relevant officials to the press conference to brief you on the Games and take your questions. Present at today's press conference are Mr. Li Sen, Director General of the General Planning Department of the Beijing Organizing Committee for the 2022 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games of Bangkok, Ms. Yan Jiarong, spokeswoman of Bangkok, Mr. Liu Yuming, Director General of the Planning and Construction Department of Bangkok, Mr. Yu Bo, Chief of Yanqing District of Beijing Municipality, Mr. Liu Haifeng, Deputy Mayor of Zhangjiakou Municipal People's Government and Deputy Director of Zhangjiakou Municipal Office for the 2022 Winter Games. Now I give the floor to Mr. Li Sen. Good morning, friends from the media. It is my pleasure to be here to brief you on Beijing's efforts to stage a Green Games. Let me first express my sincere appreciation to all the media for supporting the preparations for the Games and its sustainability. With the Winter Games around the corner, all the preparations are in place. Now the safeguards for the Games are now in place. We have carried out test events of the Games. On January the 4th, General Secretary Xi Jinping inspected the Beijing zone, where he thanked the frontline workers at the venues and made important instructions on the Games. And such encouragement has boosted our confidence and stiffened our resolve to smoothly and safely stage the Games on schedule. We will, as General Secretary Xi has instructed, ensure a streamlined, safe and splendid Games. Sustainable development is China's national strategy and one of the 3 themes of the Olympic Agenda 2020. Since we started the preparations, the Bangkok have been committed to a green, inclusive, open and clean Games. Together with the Beijing Municipal Government and Hebei Provincial Government, we have jointly formulated the sustainability plan of the Olympic Games 2020 and identified the vision of sustainability for the future and the goal of creating a new example for staging events and regional sustainability. A work framework was built on 3 aspects, namely positive environmental impact, new development for the region, and better life for the people. It includes 12 actions, 37 tasks, and 190 measures. Over the past 6 years, we have been implementing the vision of sustainability and the Green Games as we make the preparations, which have been closely integrated into the development of the city and the region and contributed to a better economic environment and social and economic growth. A number of gains have been made on sustainability, namely in the following 5 areas. First, we have put in place the sustainability management system. The preparations of the Games are a complex project which requires standardized and systemic management. For the first time in the Olympic history, we have integrated the 3 international standards, namely the Event Sustainability Management System, the Environmental Management System, and the Guidance on Social Responsibility, thus establishing the Bangkok Sustainability Management System. With this system, we have effectively managed the sustainability work of the main venues and the 50 areas. Second, we have built eco-friendly competition zones. With the snow sports mainly in the mountainous areas, measures have been taken at the design stage to minimize impact on the environment. Before the planning and design, a baseline survey on the types and distribution of plants was conducted and the environmental impact assessed to put in place protection measures. In situ, near situ and ex situ conservation measures have been taken for plants in the competition zones by establishing wildlife corridors and artificial nests and regulating the construction work. We have reduced impact on the animals and carried out ecological restoration in the competition zones. We have collecting, storing and recycling rain and melted snow to ensure efficient use of water resources. These measures have helped ensure a good environment and achieve the goal of eco-friendly venues and winter games. Third, we have strictly implemented low-carbon management. We have made full use of the venues of the 2008 Games and reduced carbon emissions from the source. In the meantime, we have built low-carbon venues which are all up to the standards of green buildings. CO2 refrigeration are used in the full ice rinks and ultra-low energy projects covering 50,000 square meters have been completed. All the venues will be powered by renewable energy during the Games. A low-carbon transportation system has been established with energy-efficient and clean energy vehicles accounting for over 80% of the total. While fully cut emissions, we have been actively expanding channels of carbon offset. Petro China, the State Grid Corporation of China, and the China Three Gorges Corporation have also sponsored carbon neutrality products for the Games. All these measures will help achieve carbon neutrality for the Beijing Winter Olympics. Fourth, we've promoted urban and regional development. The 6 years of preparations for the Games have also seen rapid development in Beijing and Zhangjiakou. The preparations of the Games have contributed positively to the development of the two cities. The high-speed rail are up and running, and the road network system is further improved, enabling connectivity of transportation facilities. The two cities jointly addressed pollution and achieved joint prevention and treatment of pollution in the region. Basic facilities have been put in place and public services improved to ensure that such services are built for all and shared by all. A number of influential businesses have arrived in Yanqing and Zhangjiakou, which accelerated the development of ice and snow industry and green energy. The Shougang Park has the new landmark of urban regeneration, Yanqing as an all-year-round destination, and Zhangjiakou as a popular winter resort in Asia. Well, all these are three fine examples of high-quality urban development thanks to the Winter Games. Fifth, we aim to benefit the people through the Games preparations. Raising people's living standards is an important part of sustainable development and a natural result of the Winter Games. Over the past 6 years, seizing the development opportunities brought by the Games, Beijing and Zhangjiakou have accelerated development of infrastructure and facilities and fully improved their public services. Industries related to the winter sport have created more jobs, made people's lives easier, thus enabling people's sense of happiness and fulfillment. The promotion of winter sport has encouraged the public to engage in sport, embrace a healthy lifestyle. Accessibility has been improved and an inclusive society is fast taking shape. Volunteer services are increasingly popular, contributing to a more civilized society. Today, we are also using this platform to release the Beijing 2022 Pre-Games Sustainability Report, which outlines the progress made on sustainability in the preparations for the Games. The full text of the report can be downloaded at the Bangkok official website, and we hope you could check it out. The IOC and IPC also speak highly of the report. President Thomas Bach and President Andrew Parsons recorded video messages of congratulations for this report. I'll stop here. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Li Sen. Well, let us watch the messages of congratulations from President Bach and President Parsons.
sport and snow and ice. Already now, these Olympic Winter Games are providing tangible social and economic benefits to the people in Zhangjiakou and Jiangxi. As this report outlines, Beijing 2022 is helping accelerate sustainable development in China, showcasing solutions for a more sustainable future. In doing so, Beijing 2022 has consulted with local and international stakeholders, raising awareness around sustainability topics in China and beyond. From reusing venues from the Olympic Games 2008 to powering all Beijing 2022 venues with renewable energy, to the many measures to minimize environmental impacts and reduce carbon emissions, such as the use of natural CO2 refrigerants. All these initiatives are inspired by Olympic Agenda 2020 and underline the commitment of Beijing 2022 to contribute to the sustainable development in China. Thank you, and Beijing Jie. See you in Beijing.
On behalf of the International Paralympic Committee and the entire Paralympic movement, I would like to congratulate the Beijing Organizing Committee of the Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games 2022 and its stakeholders for the successful release of the pre-Games Sustainability Report of the Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games Beijing 2022. This informative report discloses sustainability highlights of the Games. This report introduces efforts made by China to hold the Beijing 2022 Games. According to the report, due to the influence of the Paralympics in the past few years, accessible facilities have increased in Beijing and Zhangjiakou. Parasports have flourished, and the two cities have made remarkable progress in social integration of people with disabilities. As an important part of the UN SDG Action Campaign, the IPC supports all efforts aimed at promoting the achievement of the SDGs in the field of sports. We are glad to learn that Beijing 2022 has integrated sustainability into all aspects of the preparations for the Games. We have a reason to believe that staging of the Beijing 2022 Games will promote sustainable development in all three spheres: the environment, the economy, and society. We believe the Paralympic Winter Games will enable our athletes to achieve sporting excellence and thereby inspire and excite the world. Congratulations again to Beijing 2022 for successful releasing the sustainability report. I believe that our athletes will fully demonstrate the Paralympic values: courage, determination, inspiration, and equality in Beijing, China. 谢谢。
好，我们也谢谢巴赫主席和
Well, we'd like to thank President Bach and President Parsons for their messages of congratulations. Now the floor is open for questions. Please identify your media outlets before raising the question.
好，这个安排这个提示。
谢谢主持人。
Thank you. With Asahi Shimbun, thanks to the Winter Games, the number of skiers in China is growing, and the number of ski resorts are also on the rise. To ensure effective use of the ski resorts, it is necessary to maintain the number of skiers. So after the Winter Games, how will China continue to promote skiing? Thank you for your question. Promoting winter sports in China is one of the important goals of our bid and hosting of the Winter Games. Over the years, with the Winter Games as an opportunity, China's winter sport has been growing rapidly. I'm not sure whether you have noticed that the General Administration of Sport of China has released the latest statistics. that shows 346 million people now participate in winter sports. By the end of 2020, China now has 654 standard ice rinks and 803 ski resorts of various kinds. The goal of engaging 300 million people in winter sport has become a reality. To develop the winter sport is a long-term, not a short-term project. China has a huge population. Based on the size of the population and our development needs, the number of venues for winter sports in China is not that big. And after the Winter Olympics, such venues will not stop, and they will only increase and improve. First, there will be policy safeguard. Since we start preparations for the Games, the policy environment for winter sport development in China has been improving. You may have known that at the national level, we have released the opinions on vigorously promoting winter sport and opinions on implementing actions for a healthy China. All these put forth clear policies for promoting winter sports. There are also similar policies at the subnational level. 26 provinces have such policies in place. Take Beijing for example. There is an opinion on promoting winter sport and also 7 supporting documents on promotion of the winter sport. And such policies will not come to a stop after the Winter Olympics. They will be sustained in the long run. Second, we will focus on the young people. The young people are the foundation and the future of winter sport. Since we started preparations for the Games, the education authorities promoted winter sport on campus for millions of young people to bring winter sport into school. And this is a very important part of our campaign, which integrated winter sport into physical education and included winter sport into our curriculum. And such measures will continue to be implemented at the primary and middle schools. By the end of 2020, we had 2,062 schools featuring winter sport, and the number will reach 5,000 by 2025. Third, facilities. We have seen great improvement and development of facilities, and after the Winter Games, we'll continue to encourage the use of these facilities and venues, and we would also encourage the use of parks and urban squares to set up temporary venues, and we would also upgrade the ski resorts, provide better services, and meet people's needs for winter sport. Fourth, winter sport activities. You may know that over the years, we have carried out a lot of winter sport activities, including winter sport festivals, galas, winter sport weeks. A lot of provinces and municipalities also have their own winter sport festivals. For example, in Beijing, Zhangjiakou, we all have winter sport galas designed for the general public. They have become brand events for winter sports. And even after the Winter Games, these activities and events will continue and will improve. Fifth, professionals. Given the enthusiasm of the general public for winter sport, the sport authorities are now stepping up training and cultivation of coaches and instructors for winter sport. In Beijing, we now have 23,000 such instructors, and in Zhangjiakou, there are also more than 20,000 of such coaches and instructors. They all play a very important part in promoting winter sport. After the Winter Games, the number of the coaches and instructors will continue to grow, and they will provide more guidance for the people to engage in popular sport and meet their needs for winter sports. Thank you.
下一个问题。
Next question, please.
好，东区第3排内侧那位男士。
With China Media Group, in the previous Winter Games, after the Games, the venues are not used fully. How would China help resolve this problem after this year's Winter Games?
This is indeed a very good question. Thank you. Indeed, how to make good use of big sports venues around the world is a difficult question. Beijing provides a good solution. From applying to preparation to hosting the games, we are working to tackle this problem. 6 venues from 2008 are used this time, and learning from that experience, we have made post-games use plans for existing and newly built venues, and taking into account the need for post-games use in planning and design, we have effectively lowered the costs. To be specific, first, for these venues, after the Games, we will actively applying for hosting high-level competitions. The Beijing 2022 venues are all world-class venues, and in preparation, sports authorities, venue owners, and international sports federations have had good coordination and communication, and after the Games, we will continue to apply and host high-level international and national competitions. So through these competitions, we can promote the operation of the venues and also boost local development. Second, we will open them up to the public. Besides hosting competitions, what is more important for the venues is to serve public fitness activities. In day 1 of designing, we have considered how to open them up in the public afterwards. For example, the National Speed Skating Oval or the ice ribbon. It has a full ice surface of 12,000 square meters, because for speed skating, we use primarily the 400-meter track. But in the center of the track, there are 2 standard ice fields that can be used for short track, speed skating, or other activities. Another example is the National Sliding Center. It is the world's 17th sliding venues for such activities. So in designing the venues, we have designed a starting area for the public in the more gentle trails for the public to experience the fun of bobsleigh. The third point is we try to make the venues work all year round. For ice venues, they are indoor venues. They can be open at all seasons. But however, for Yanqing venues for snow sports in winter, so in designing these mountainous areas venues, we have taken into account the operation in the other 3 seasons. And by leveraging cultural, historical, and natural advantages, we built training centers for running, rock climbing, and hiking, and also speed up the development of special tourism, recreational, and outdoor sports industries. So the venues can be open at all seasons. If you have visited Zhangjiakou, you may notice that the Genting Snow Park have people doing outdoor sports activities in non-snowy seasons, and the number of people have outnumber those in snowy seasons. The fourth point is integrated development with other parts of the region. Post-Games use of the venue is not just about a single venue, but also about the development of the region. For example, the Yanqing competition zone have provided a driving force for Yanqing district, together with the Horticultural Expo and the Great Wall, focusing on developing special sports, tourism, and cultural industries. And also the Zhangjiakou competition zone has been contributing to making Zhangjiakou City a winter resort for Asia and a city of sport open all year round. And also, we have worked to synergize the development of winter sports venues in the 3 competition zones and integrate them with sports facilities and natural and cultural tourism resources, and making the Beijing-Zhangjiakou sports, cultural and tourism belt in order to boost high-quality development and quality development and the repeated, comprehensive and sustainable use of the Beijing Olympic venues. Next question. From TBS, I have 2 questions. The first question is, what is your estimate about the electricity and other energy that will be consumed during the Games? And also, how much money is spent in building a totally clean, renewable energy system during the Games? Thank you for your attention. China has been working to build a community with a shared future for mankind with a focus on sustainable development. We have incorporated carbon peak and neutrality goals as part of our ecological conservation campaign. And in preparing for the Games, we have focused on building a green Olympics and leveraging the resource strengths of Beijing and Zhangjiakou as a host city. And for power supply, they are mostly based on existing grids and conducted in accordance with national market transaction rules. We have carried out a green electricity transaction and ensured 100% renewable energy supply for all venues. Just like I said, we have mostly used existing urban power grids with no additional infrastructure need to be invested and built. According to estimate, from June 2019, our first renewable energy transaction, to the end of 2022 Paralympics, the venues in the 3 competition zones will use around 400 million kilowatt of renewable energy, which is an equivalent of 128,000 tons of standard coal or 320,000 tons of carbon dioxide. Next question. From Global Times. Recently, some Western media are questioning that the Beijing Olympic Games cannot reach the green standard. They say it's hard to verify the green commitment. What is your comment?
Thank you for the question. You asked about the green standards. Well, what I can tell you is that the Winter Games in Beijing follow the standards of the IOC and the sustainable standards of the United Nations. The Beijing Winter Games is the first Games They have fully implemented the Olympic Agenda 2020 from bidding to preparations and to hosting. It is also a games that is committed to the UN SDGs. We are committed to staging a green and sustainable Olympic Games. As for the Green Games we are going to host, there are many highlights, and my colleagues have covered a lot of ground. And let me add a few points. First is greater strategic planning. A lot of foreign friends say that the Chinese are good at making long-term plans. The BOCOG and IOC released a sustainability plan and put forth the vision of sustainability for the future, with a focus on positive environmental impact, new development of the region, and a better life for the people. Altogether, 119 measures have been formulated. Second, recycled stadiums. As my colleagues said, we have used the existing venues and facilities to the max. That is a highlight of our preparations. The Bird's Nest will host the closing and opening ceremonies. The water cube will be turned into an ice cube, and the basketball stadium of the Wukesong Sports Center will be turned into an ice hockey stadium. Third, low carbon emissions. The games in Beijing embraced low carbon venues, energy and transportation, lights to reduce the carbon emissions in the preparations and hosting of the games, and achieve neutrality of all the carbon emissions produced in Beijing 2022. Fourth, standards. Beijing and Hebei province jointly formulated the standards for assessing green stadiums for winter sport as the standards for green buildings of the venues during the games. It also filled a void, and the games sustainability management systems integrated ISO 20121, ISO 4001, and ISO 26000. It established, for the first time in the Olympic history, a sustainability management system that covers all the areas and scope of the preparations of the Games, and I believe it will set a good example for hosting major events such as future Olympic Games. Next question, please. Well, the thorough use of the legacy of the 2008 Games is a highlight of the Winter Games in Beijing. Can you give us more information on that? Thank you for your question. The Winter Games in Beijing has maximized the use of the Olympic legacy of the 2008 Games. As my colleague just said, the Bird's Nest had hosted the 2008 opening ceremony of the 2008 Games and will continue to use that for this year's opening and closing ceremonies. The water cube will be turned into an ice cube for hosting events including curling and wheelchair curling. The National Sports Stadium and the Wukesong Sports Center will host ice hockey games. In addition, there are also some land resources from the 2008 Games. For example, the hockey court of the 2008 Games will be turned into the National Speed Skating Oval. And our main media center, the Beijing Olympic Village, and the Wukesong ice hockey training field have also used the land resources of the 2008 Winter Games. In terms of urban infrastructure and operation, we have also used the legacy of the 2008 games, including the metro line A and the line 10, and also the substation and waterworks. The renovation of the existing venues is not just about switching its functions. In fact, we have maintained its previous functions and also added new functions for winter sport. Take ice cube. For example, after the Winter Games, it will continue to be used as a swimming facility. The functions can be switched back and forth from ice to water and from water to ice. So the use of the venues is not just about repetition, it is also about expansion of and upgrading of the functions. And that is another highlight of how we use the existing venues. Next question, please. Thank you. With Channel News Asia.
There have been some concerns raised about the large amounts of artificial snow being used for the games and the impact this will have on water resources and energy as well. What is your response to this? My second question is also, given that many environmental initiatives are being tested at the Olympics, what steps are being taken to ensure that these measures are not just short-term, but yield long-term results? Thank you.
请翻译一下。
您好，我是来自亚洲新闻台的记者。我有2个问题。第一个是因为天气原因，张家口可能会需要不少人造雪。请问这样的人造雪对于水资源和能源将会产生什么样的影响？请问您对此有何回应？第2个问题是北京冬奥会正在大规模的测试或实施许多的环保措施，你们采取了哪一些措施来确保这些绿色环保措施不仅仅产生短期效果，而且从长远来看也是可持续的？
请严家荣女士作答。张家口刘市长如果有补充，请做补充。
好的，谢谢主持人。
Thank you.
我想先从2个方面来回答
I
一
have
下总体上关于人
2
造雪的
points
问
to
题。
respond to
然后
your
我们
first
张家口的
question,
领导一会儿还可以再详细介绍一下张家口方面的情况。
and then
然后你问题的第2
our
部分
Deputy Mayor
关
from
于
Zhangjiakou can
环
further
保
elaborate.
采取的这些可持续的措施，
First,
怎么样能够确保它不是一个短期行为，而是中长远的行为？
how do we ensure these environmentally friendly measures are sustainable not only in the short term and long term? I think our 2 Director Generals can answer that question. First, on snowmaking. We all know that snow sports competitions are mostly hosted in the Yanqing and Chongli mountainous areas, where these 2 regions naturally snows a lot. For example, in November 2021, both places experienced really heavy snowfall. This provided a precondition for saving the water used for snowmaking. And also, the water needed during the games in Yanqing will take up 1.6% of the total used in that region and take up 4,000 of the total water resources in the region. And the water needed during the games in Zhangjiakou will take up 9.8% of the total used in the region and 2.8% of the total water resources in Chongli. Besides, through introducing water supply guarantee, wastewater disposal, and water-saving measures, we have increased the capacity for the water environment in the competition zone. And we will first use stored natural rainfall, surface runoff as the water resources for snowmaking. And the snowmaking system that we use adopts the most advanced equipment and smart equipment that can dynamically adjust itself to stay highly efficient in all changing circumstances. So the water used for snowmaking is relatively limited and will not have a significant impact on the water safety and the eco-environment. Second, I want to point out that snowmaking is not entirely an emergency measure to cope with extreme weather conditions. It is also what is required to ensure the quality of snow in major international competitions. Globally, to ensure the quality of snow used in competitions, snowmaking is used in almost all major international competitions. It is mostly because that compared with natural snow, we can change the particle size, the water content, and the hardness of man-made snow. It can fit the needs of different competitions and venues, and it has more stable properties. It is easier to be made into standard trails when crushed and smoothed. And in that case, it will ensure that the games are fairer for all athletes. Thank you for your question, and thank you for your attention on our snowmaking works in Zhangjiakou competition zone. Just like spokeswoman Yan said, snowmaking is a measure to ensure a stable trail and ensure the athletes can enjoy a fair competition no matter which place they are to start. And also, according to international practice, no matter what the weather is, snowmaking is needed to make the trail fit the criteria for competitions. And as recorded, Lake Placid, Vancouver, Sochi, and Pyeongchang Winter Games all used a lot of snowmaking. And for the 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Olympics, 90% of the snow are man-made snow. And recently, we have held the Beijing FIS freestyle skiing and snowboard cross World Cup in the Zhangjiakou competition zone. And 60% of the snow that we used are man-made snow for the Genting competition zone. And from the feedback, the quality of our trails are recognized by athletes from all countries. And also to better prepare for the Winter Games, the Zhangjiakou competition zone has taken multiple precautionary measures by collecting runoff and snowmelt water. We have achieved both the guarantee of water supply and also the protection of ecological environment. First, on water conservation, we have advanced the Winter Games preparation and ecological conservation. By planting trees and forests, the forest coverage ratio in Chongli has grown from 52.38% in 2015 to 71.53% today. And also in core competition zones, it is as high as 81.02%. And also for water storage, in Zhangjiakou competition zone, in particular in Genting cluster and Guyangshu cluster, we have built 11 open reservoirs and ponds, provided a total storage of 530,000 cubic meters. And on water saving, in our two competition clusters, smart and efficient water-saving snowmaking equipment are used that can keep itself at best efficiency and achieve the best result. And it can save 20% of the water used in snowmaking. And the reality has proven that all these measures worked well and can fully meet the needs of water needed for all the venues.
刚才这位记者提到了第二个问题，就是我们这些绿色邦奥的一些技术如何来持续。
On the second question about the green environmental protection measures, how to make them more sustainable. Well, in fact, we have adopted a lot of such green and environmental friendly and environment protection measures. My colleagues have talked a lot about that, including the building of low-carbon venues. Our ice rinks have used CO2 refrigeration technologies, and we have also built ultra-low energy projects. All of these would set a good example for low-carbon development. We have also ensured low-carbon energy supply. For example, we have established the renewable energy flexible DC power grid in Zhangjiakou and Beijing, which ensured integrated delivery of clean energy for this region. All the venues during the games will be powered by renewable energy. We have also established a low-carbon transportation system. During the games, clean energy vehicles will be adopted, will be used. And we have also adopted a lot of standards to ensure low carbon and low energy consumption. All of these innovative measures will contribute to better development of the region and help improve people's lives. Some of these technologies can be adopted for urban development. For example, the flexible DC power grid in Zhangjiakou and Beijing can be used after the Winter Olympics, which will transmit power to the region. It would also help our country achieve carbon peaking and carbon neutrality goals. We have also used a lot of clean energy vehicles and buses, which will also continue to be used after the games in the cities. And it would also boost the development of such industries as hydrogen energy and clean energies. As we prepare for the games and build the venues, there are a lot of progress and gains in science and technological innovation. All of these gains and innovations will be commercialized and also used in other parts or other industries. For example, the CO2 refrigeration technology can be adopted in the future, which could be a more reliable and safe source of refrigeration and energy. And we have also set up new green standards for snow sport venues. Beijing, Hebei, and Tianjin have brought together the planning authorities to establish a snow sport venue standards, which will serve as a guide for future development of snow sport venues. And we have also established a major event sustainability management system. We have worked with relevant authorities in Beijing to transform this management system into an assessment guidance that would help guide localities in their hosting of local games or major events. Thank you. Next question, please. With Beijing Youth Daily, my question is about urban and regional development. After we won the bid for the Winter Games, a lot of villages in the competition zones have benefited from the Winter Games. After the building of infrastructure, venues, and hotels, a lot of a lot has happened and changed to the villages. Will these changes be sustainable?
Well, thank you for your question, and thank you for your attention to the work in the Yanqing competition zone. Indeed, the Winter Games has greatly boosted surrounding areas around the competition zone and boosted Yanqing's work in building a Winter Games district. The growing infrastructure, Beijing Chongli Expressway and Beijing Zhangjiakou High-Speed Railway Yanqing branch are all up and running. Yanqing has now 3 expressways, 1 high-speed railway, and we are making breakthroughs in power infrastructure. And we have used pipeline natural gas for the first time, which significantly changed the energy structure in our region. Industrial development is gaining speed and boosted the accumulation of winter sports resources. Yanqing now has 18 starred international hotels with 12,000 beds and has built a Yanqing signature B&B brand, 500 B&B households and 1,300 start B&B stays. Tourism industries are now prospering. For example, the Xidazhuangke village are now upgraded through upgrade and renovation, and the Heilongmiao village has grown from a low-income village to a key national tourism destination. And on employment, we have, through training programs, provided over nearly 7,000 jobs in the hometown, for people in their hometowns, and also we have built a skiing team for Haitou districts for the farmers to participate in the competitions, and many of the farmers have now received certificates to be coaches, judges, and athletes. This is a good start for increasing local jobs and increasing local people's income. From sustainable development, we have built high-standard implementation plans and a to-do list for post-games use and industrial development. Now, the Yanqing Olympic Village is approved by the Olympic Committee to open on May the 1st, and the Haitou place area in Yanqing has been selected as the first group of national ski resort. And going forward, we will speed up the development of this region to provide wider benefits to the Yanqing people and serve as a legacy for post-games use. Thank you for your question. Just as you mentioned, the preparation for the Winter Games had provided significant benefits and changed the lives of the people in our region. The ecological environment has been significantly improved. Beijing Zhangjiakou High-Speed Railway and Beijing Chongli Expressway are now up and running. Urban infrastructure and urban and rural environment are upgraded, and Chongli has taken a new look. According to current statistics, 1 in every 5 people in Chongli are doing work related to winter sports, and over 30,000 people are now working in related industries, and their quality of life and living standards have significantly improved. Besides, Chongli is opening up wider to the outside world, which boosted the sense of pride of the people and fostered a stronger atmosphere for people to make greater contributions to building this place and contribute to the Winter Games. And going forward, we will strive to keep the heat of the Winter Games and provide greater benefits for more people. First, we will plan for post-games use of the venues. We will promote competition economy, exhibition economy, and forum economy and other new economic models. We plan to build a group of signature and pioneering exhibitions and forums, and have planned to host over 30 competitions and exhibitions throughout the year. The Taizicheng village has signed tentative cooperation agreements with some institutions in Beijing, and we will, through these new economic models, try to translate the Olympic effect to an economic advantage. And second, we will strive to advance the pioneering role and effect of the Winter Games, and to introduce in Zhangjiakou a group of international and national competition snow sports events in order to gather more resources. And also we will try to make the games more popular around the general public to ensure that over 2 million people will participate in the upcoming snow season. And third, we will strive to explore a batch of signature travel programs for sports and leisure, team building, and recreational use, and build greater integrated facilities for these industries. We will improve recreational facilities and introduce a batch of chain stores, restaurants, promote the sale of Winter Games-related products and menus, strive to develop BMD, catering, and other rural traveling business models to ensure jobs and stable income of the local people. Next question, please. Thank you for your question. With Beijing Daily. In the 2022 Beijing Winter Games, all venues will use 100% renewable energy. This is the first time in the Olympic history. My question is, where does this renewable energy come from, and how do we ensure safety and stability, and how is the current work going on?
Thank you for your interest in the green electricity. Well, green electricity means electricity coming from wind power generators, hydrogen power generators, and solar power generations, and they come from renewable sources. During the 2022 Winter Games, all the venues will be powered by green electricity. If we look at the clean energy layout, the reason we could achieve such green electricity because the region has achieved coordinated development across Beijing, Tianjin, and Hebei. If you visit Yanqing district, especially its reservoir, you can see a lot of wind turbines and relevant facilities for wind power generation. Those have been established more than 10 years ago. In 2008, the Guanting water reservoir had its windmill, which achieved a breakthrough in wind power generation. According to our estimates, more than 40 million kilowatts of wind power could be developed, and more than 30 million kilowatts of solar power, and over 2 million tons of biomass resources could be developed for renewable energy, which could ensure the supply of energy and electricity for the Games venues. Second, if we look at the integration of the infrastructure, well, in the Beijing, Tianjin, and Hebei region, the flexible DC power grid has used a lot of advanced new technologies. It is also a DC power grid that uses the highest power voltage and great volume of transmission. It could send the green energy from the north of Zhangjiakou to the 3 competition zones in the Winter Games. If we look at the coordinated operation, well, the surplus power from the DC power grid could be transmitted to the Fengning power station, which could be stored in its reserve. And when the electricity, especially the clean energy electricity, is not enough, the power station in Fengning could send the reserved power and electricity to the power grid, which will serve as a massive charger to ensure the safe supply of electricity for the venues of the Olympic Games. With the cover, well, the Yanqing competition zone has a special environment and a sensitive ecological environment. How do we ensure the development of the venues and the protection of the eco-environment? And what is the progress of ecological renovation in Yanqing competition zone? Thank you. That is a very good question. And that is also a difficult challenge that we need to address during the preparations for the Games. The Yanqing competition zone is as high as 2,198 meters at its peak and more than 300 meters at its lowest point. At the initial stage, the core competition zone has no access to roads, water, electricity, or communication. The transportation is achieved by manpower and donkeys. It is the most challenging competition zone to build among the 3 competition zones. To ensure sustainable development, the Yanqing competition zone is committed to a green Olympic Games. And over the past 6 years, we have achieved an eco-friendly Olympic Games and venues. First, we have completed ecological renovation of the competition zone by high standards. We have established an expert advisor team consisting of 18 professors from the top-notch universities in the region. And they have also established 3 expert groups on the restoration of plants, the reservation of water and soil, and water environment. They have conducted a survey of the animals and the plants, covering an area of 2,000 hectares, and also guided the ecological restoration of the Yanqing competition zone. The ecological conservation has been completed. A lot of the natural habitats have been restored, and wildlife corridors have been effectively established, and the eco-environment has been effectively restored. Second, we have protected the animals and plants. In terms of protecting the plants, we are committed to the principle of avoidance, to avoid affecting the plants and animals as much as we can. In designing the cables, we have tried our best to avoid the plants. For those that cannot be avoided, we would protect them near situ and ex situ. And we have also established 2 near situ conservation areas and transplanted about 11,000 bushes and plants. And we have also built a 20-hectare ex situ conservation base and a 480 mu Winter Olympics forest park. In the meantime, about 80,000 square cubic meters of topsoil has been stripped from the construction work and restored and renovated after the construction. We have preserved the pool of seeds as much as we can so as to reduce the risk of biological invasion. We have also established wildlife corridors, reduced nighttime construction work, installed artificial bird nests, and restored habitats for the animals. We have also helped and treated injured animals. Since 2019, wildlife such as wild boar, badgers, and antelopes have been detected many times near the competition zones. We have detected 11 species of animals, one more than those of 2019. We've also detected 18 kinds of birds, 6 more than that of 2019. Now, in the Yanqing district, one can find 30 orders, 95 families, and 452 species of wildlife, including 392 kinds of birds, 38 kinds of animals, and 22 kinds of amphibians. And this region has become, this district has become a homeland for a lot of wildlife. Third, we have promoted recycling of green and low carbon use. For the first time in the history of Olympic Games, all the venues will be powered by green energy 100%. We have also promoted green transportation. 242 hydrogen buses have been delivered for use during the Games. We will also promote recycled use of water resources. The recycled water will be used to water the greeneries and flush the toilets, thus enhancing the efficiency of water use. So, in fact, the Yanqing competition has lived up to its commitment of staging a green and low-carbon Winter Games. Next question, please.
China Arab TV journalist. Beijing has implemented environmental friendly technologies in transportation, electricity supply, water and waste management to ensure the Green Olympic Games. This would set a big example for foreign countries to follow up. What are the major challenges faced for all these preparations? Thank you.
请翻译一下。
您好，我是来自中阿卫视的记者。为确保绿色办奥，北京在交通、电力供应、水资源和废弃物处置等方面采用了环保技术，这将为国外跟进树立一个重要榜样。这些准备工作面临的主要挑战是什么？
请李森部长作答。
谢谢你的提问。正如您所说。
Thank you for your question. Just like you said, the Green Games is one of the 4 concepts for Winter Games preparation, be it in venue construction, transportation, power supply, and circular use of water resources. Green and low-carbon, environmentally friendly technologies are used, including some pioneering technologies. For low-carbon transportation, in the Beijing competition zone, pure electric and gas-powered vehicles are used, and in Yanqing and Zhangjiakou competition zones, hydrogen-powered vehicles are used. Energy-saving and clean energy vehicles take up 100% of the small vehicles used and 84.9% of all vehicles used. We have also, just like previous speakers have mentioned, established a renewable energy flexible DC power grid pilot project transmitting wind and solar-powered green electricity to the 3 competition zones. And in the sustainable use of water resources, the snowmaking in Yanqing and Zhangjiakou competition zones have all used surface water, including the collected and recycled rainfall and snow melt. And also in the 2 competition zones, high-standard wastewater handling facilities have been built. All wastewater in the competition zone are collected, processed, and reused. And in waste management, by reducing waste and translating it into resources and by standardized management, we have carried out holistic management and category-specific management for all the waste in the competition zones. First, we use solid waste in venue construction. For example, in some rock pieces produced in construction, we use them to decorate the exterior or pave the roads. And also for the stand in the national speed skating oval, we used some waste rocks and bricks to build the stand for the venue. And also, by standardized management, we have carried out management for waste, including garbage sorting and collecting, transportation, and handling of the waste generated. These green and environmental friendly technologies not only ensured a green Olympic Games, but will also be applied in urban construction and industrial development, and also to be used in daily lives. Today we are 22 days away from the opening of the Games, and we are fully prepared in all preparation works. Just like previous speakers mentioned, that these green and environmental technology have been proven reliable and up to standard in the tests events that we have held recently. For example, in last November to December, we have held 10 international test events. And these measures I mentioned, be it in clean energy vehicles and green power supply, or circular use of waste, circular use of water, or waste management, have all been proven to be up to standard, and they have gone through the tests of these events, and they are proven stable and reliable. In the interest of time, we will open the floor for one last question. Thank you. South Metropolis Weekly. We know that the Beijing Olympic Village has prioritized low-carbon and energy-saving technologies. These residential buildings are rated 3 stars as green architecture. And how are these architecture built? Is the cost high, and can these technologies be applied to the building of other public facilities? Thank you for your question. Green architecture, by definition, are those in its life cycle are resource efficient, environmental friendly, and produces less pollution. It can provide adaptable, healthy, efficient space for people and achieve the harmony between man and nature to the maximum extent. It provides safe, durable, healthy, comfortable, convenient, resource-efficient, and environmentally friendly lives for the people. And it is a way for the architecture industry to contribute to the carbon peak and neutrality goals. And the 3 stars rating is the highest rating in China for green architecture. China highly values the development of green architecture. We have followed through this concept and vigorously promoted its practice. It is now a widely applicable requirement for urban planning. And similar with international practices, we know that different countries have different standards, but generally the cost is kept in an appropriate range. considering both economic efficiency and the requirement of sustainable development. For the venues in the Beijing Winter Games, be it in the site, design, construction, and material, we have effectively combined cost and efficiency. Just now, Director General Li Sen have mentioned that all new built indoor venues for this Winter Games have all reached the 3-star standard. Globally, green architecture standards are mostly applied in indoor stadiums and venues. But for the Beijing 2022 Winter Games, many venues are outdoor venues. So we have invited experts to look into and formulate an evaluation standard for green architecture for snow sports venues. So as of now, all snow sports venues in the competition zones are up to the green architecture standard. It is not only an achievement in green architecture development in China, but also an important contribution by China to the international Olympic movement and a legacy of the Beijing 2022 Games. Now I will take the Beijing Olympic Village as an example. For example, the structure for the main residence building are installed steelwork. They are lightweight, environmentally friendly, quality control, and they are quick to install and earthquake-proof. And also for the clinic facilities, as an ultra-low energy intensity pilot project, it selected heat preservation material to build its exterior and build an efficient ventilation and heat recycling technology to lower the need for air conditioning and make full use of renewable energies. And for the bedrooms and living rooms in the Olympic Village, soundproof structure is used to improve air quality and create a healthy and comfortable interior environment. And also for the rooftop, we have made it into a scenic space for outdoor activities, which has also improved the small climate and adds to urban greens. We have installed solar panels on the rooftop, which can power over 70% of hot water supply in the Olympic Village. We have also paid particular attention to carbon emission control, both in the construction phase and the operation phase. Through BIM statistics and analytics technology, we have installed low-carbon equipment and established an energy intensity monitoring platform to have holistic management on carbon emissions in the Olympic Village. The Olympic Village is now an example of green, healthy, livable, and smart, sustainable housing. It can provide healthy and comfortable living environment for athletes around the world, but also set a role model for the development of China's architecture industry. The standards and technologies that I mentioned, I believe, will be widely applied in urban development and planning, and we will continue to improve these standards and practices. And I'm confident that the venue construction and urban development of China will only become better and better. Thank you very much. This is the end of today's press conference. Thank you for your attendance.